So this work is titled Vibrating Boundaries, and it takes its title from a chapter in Josef Albers' book, Interaction of Color. These sort of radiating rectangles are kind of paying homage to Josef Albers, who created a whole series, homage to the square, that was a format for experimenting with color. So I wanted to create a work that sort of acknowledged him and that history, because it's been such an important part of my development, and I think it's also such an important part of the collection. The sort of relief dimension is inspired in part by architecture that I experienced in Mexico. So ancient architecture in places like Mitla, that's a Zapotec site, and there are these stone mosaics that cast these wonderful shadows, and the design of those has a strong sort of balance between positive and negative space. And so the fact that these are like the areas that are created with the pink horizontals creates a kind of positive-negative interplay. Process for me, I work in a variety of media and different processes, whether it's like painted wood constructions or piecing together quilts or designing rugs that are woven by collaborators in Mexico. It all starts with a very improvisatory process. So I think with all my work, I'm wanting to use color as a way to really create a sense of movement and draw the viewer's eye around. So for something like this scale, there's a process of sketching and even like collage that I use to sort of work out ideas. And then because of it being enlarged to such a large scale, it becomes a much more sort of mathematical planning. And I really like having that duality of the mathematical concrete and then the intuitive improvisational. So the larger mural is titled Through Line, and it's both sort of literal, figurative title in that this orange horizontal line that goes across the work could be considered like a literal through line that goes beyond the actual sort of parameters of the mural and into the hallway, so playing with architecture there. But it also is very much a bold mural of color, and so color being the kind of through line in my work and the element that connects everything. And then the vertical planks in it with their blocks of color, I was thinking about the first quilt that I made, piecing together these squares, and so I had strips of squares that were hanging around before I pieced them together to make the larger quilt. And it's a technique that's used in patchwork quilt making, but also you see it in something like a kente cloth, where you have a long, narrow strip that's woven on a backstrap loom that's then pieced together. Elemental geometry and how stacking squares can connect to these other histories and traditions of textiles, both in their appearance and in their physical construction. I've been thinking about with this project, if I hadn't gone to Mexico to study dyes, I wouldn't have met weavers that I work with, and I wouldn't be translating designs into rugs, which actually prepared me perfectly for making murals because of the sort of scaling up of the work. So you just don't know how experiences are going to change you, and so trying to be really open to new experiences is essential.